Hello and welcome to our 10 years anniversary podcast series. This is our HP Systems podcast covering everything that happened over the past 10 years with our open source HP Systems community. Today we have a very special podcast. The person behind the scenes that is driving a very large number of our community initiatives includes things, including, of course, this podcast, but also our community days. And I know that you're excited about all of those, and we will talk about those later today during the interview. And certainly, all of the initiatives that our community has been driving over the years. That includes also hackathons and engagements with academia and industry, and a number of other initiatives that support community growth. So of course, I'd say probably everyone knows Trish McCall, but she tends to stay behind the curtain. So I asked her to get out of the curtain today and to talk a little bit about these last 10 years and to bring her perspective, which is quite rich, again, having been involved since even before HP Systems was open source. So hello, Trish, first of all, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. It's not often that I'm on this side of the camera, but thanks for having me.
I know, that's a very rare occurrence. So, Trish, besides commemorating this 10 years anniversary of our HP Systems community, what were your thoughts creating this, when you created this series of podcasts, this particular podcast that we are now recording?
Yeah, well, I knew shortly before the new year, the 10-year anniversary was hitting in 2021. And this is a huge milestone. And so many people have contributed to the success of where we are now and all that we have achieved. So I wanted to come up with a way where our community could all come together and share their stories of what going open source meant to them. And I also knew that we were still under tight COVID restrictions, and throwing a big party in person wasn't likely going to happen. So I did the next best thing. Knowing we already had a huge following from our Tech Talk download series, let's start a special limited edition series with the intent to showcase members of our community to celebrate 10 years of innovation, growth, and success, with, of course, you as the host. So we all know the outcome. I've lost count, Flavio, but I think over 20 episodes featuring, members from our own internal community, legendary platform and core development teams, who've been heavily involved in the move to open source, but also key community members, from industry and academia who have been positively impacted over the last 10 years, because we are open source.
This, yeah, and of course, Tricia, I've said this many times. This has been a great idea. I think not only it's a great place, this podcast, for people to learn more about our community and our history in general, but also I felt like I got personally involved and I know more about key people in our community throughout this series as well by just running these interviews. So it has been a great idea all around, and personally for me, it has been also absolutely awesome. It has been great. But now we are spilling over and talking about community. So, and you have been involved with the community since before the community was the community. So tell me a little bit about your personal experience and your relationship with the community.
You said it, we're like family. We're a very supportive community. When they need help, someone is in there in the forums answering their questions. They need training, we give them access to the online lessons or facilitate something customized if needed. They're looking for a new module or extension, we point them to the right place or person to help them. If you're looking for a new hire to fill an ECL developer role, well, guess what? We know some graduating interns, who have deep ECL knowledge you may want to interview. I mean, you've heard so many of these stories from all the interviews that took place. And personally for me, as I was editing and clipping these videos, hearing each and every one tell their journey was also telling a little bit of my journey, because I was with them along the way, witnessing and promoting their success. We have such a passionate and dedicated community who are proud and absolutely love working with this platform, unlike any other open source community I've seen. And I think that's what sets us apart. Our platform is mature. We've been in this business and industry for such a long period of time, and our community cares, not only about the success of the platform, but the success of those using it. This platform has led to successful startups where they rely and depend on an engaged, supportive community in order to run their business. And these are not just US-based companies, as you know. We now have a footprint and international presence, helping users in Europe, India, Brazil, China, and beyond. And that was a huge part of the website redesign that Jessica led, to include language translations to support our global community. And it shows. In fact, you've seen some of the emails and inquiries coming in from the community, and some resulted in many trips to China for you over the 10 years. But they are nice little surprises.
Yes, they are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you raised really great points there. Yeah, and I can tell you through all of these trips to China that China is quite far, but it's been great, and also I feel like in every one of our international interactions we met great people all around, and it seems like we can help each other. And every one of these interviews and little recordings always take me strolling down the memory lane, right, on things that, yeah, I was there, yeah, we've been doing this, oh yeah, I didn't remember about this, which is always a great experience as well. That, again, going back to building that personal connection. So you now that you brought this up, I need to explore this idea more. So testimonials, things that people have done, and around this, what testimonial did resonate with you the most, or what do you think has been the best or the most interesting testimonial that we have heard over the years?
God, I think they all are really impactful. And Sharon on our web team has recently finished the build out of our academic spotlight pages that we continue to promote. But the ones I like to retell and talk about, when I'm describing what our platform is and does, are the unique stories, solving a problem that I never in a million years would think the HPCC systems would be, used for that purpose. Like in sports analytics, or using our platform to build a high-performing athlete, or helping the healthcare and construction industry with predicting injuries with wearable devices that are collecting and tracking data, leveraging our platform. And of course, all the cool autonomous robots we've seen doing cool, innovative things. The list just goes on and on. But it's not just the stories and the solutions coming out of it, but the users and how it has positively impacted them. We both knew early on it was important to establish relationships with academia. And for the first few years, you remember, it was slow, just a handful of university partners. And it was a challenge trying to find the right people in the right department who are willing to listen to what we had to offer in ways of student opportunities, curriculum support, and collaboration. And now we have a full-on academic program that has funded over $4 million in grants, sponsorships, and events, and it continues to grow. We heard from earlier episodes, how labs and centers have been formed with HPCC Systems right in the thick of it. And I don't know if you remember, but I remember saying when we first went open source that I know we will hit the tipping point when we partner with schools that have adopted and embed ECL and HPC systems in the classroom. And FAU and KSU were among the early adopters. And now we have our own folks, like Bahar, Hugo, Bob, and others teaching our platform and facilitating hackathons and events at a number of schools. And it's really been great.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of hackathons, I want to just highlight here, wasn't there recently one that had to do with some of your other interests in life, the Adam program?
Yes,
Can you
yes.
tell us more about that?
Yeah, I love it when my two worlds collide in a good way. So we were a sponsor in the Kennesaw State University Hackathon for Social Good, and working with Arjuna and Bahar, we came up with a challenge for the students to devise a weighted scale to determine possible suspects in an area where a child went missing.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but can you tell the audience, because I don't know if everyone is familiar with the Adam program, but
Oh,
can you tell them what, yes.
Yeah. So as you know, I'm the co-founder of the Adam program, which is a tool that we built and donated to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. and they use it to rapidly send out geo-targeted poster alerts when a child goes missing. So this was a great way to bridge these two programs. And with HPCC Systems being open source, the students were able to leverage the platform and ECL to come up with a solution and display their results using our ECL visualization bundle. I mean, the results were fascinating, and time is too short here to talk about it, but there's a blog on our website and more information at adamprogram.com. But yes, that use case probably ranks high on my favorite list. But going back to the personal impact just a little bit, this 10-year journey has really enriched the lives of students. Your guest from the last episode, actually, the lovely Lorraine, she talked about the history of our internship program and how that evolved. And there's something to be said on that success. These students are given real project work that end up being contributions. And, it starts, similar to these hackathon events and workshops that we do. They end up building these contributions that the wider community can use. But not only that, for many of these students, it's a life-changing experience. And many of them decide to make a career change in the data analytics field, or even better, they join our company as an employee and continue on as an HPCC Systems ambassador.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like we are also giving the opportunity to all of these people to build their own resumes. So by creating software, not just creating software, but also writing documentation and doing other things on open source projects like HPC Systems, they have the opportunity to have something at the end of the internship that they can show others, future employers. So in some way, it gives them experience, and that's absolutely key. But also it gives them the ability to prove that they got that experience, because they can always show, hey, I've done this, and this is there open. You can take a look and you can see what I did as I was a student. So I think it brings opportunities for them in a number of areas. I think that there is a lot of value in that.
Mind-blowing what they come up with.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Hey, so now, as I think I prefaced some of this at the very beginning, our community day. Our community day is around the corner. So, well, I know that you have been quite deeply involved in creating all of the structure, bringing all of the talks together, helping record many of those sessions, and truly bring the community day to life, and not just for this community day on October 4th, but for every community day that we had since the very beginning of time. So what can you tell us more about this community day coming on October 4th?
Yeah. Well, kind of stepping back to how it first evolved, I think it was 2013. And up until that point, it had always been an internal conference. And at that time, I think we were 2 years into being open source, and we were starting to get some adopters. And it was Dan Camper's story. You know it. We all know it. He was a guest you interviewed earlier in the series. But I suggested that he come to our
by the way, his talk blew my mind. So yeah, that was great.
Exactly. He came to our internal conference to share how he came across HPCC Systems and using it in his company. And that talk went over really, really well, to the point where it started to pique interest from others. And so the next year in 2014 is when we held our very first community day, where we showcased a number of HPCC Systems users from industry and academia. And it grew each year to the point where I think in 2016, where we had to slot some of those talks as posters. And that was the onset of our inaugural poster competition. So it continues to evolve.
So sorry to interrupt you there, but I'd like to know more, or for you to tell the audience more about specifically this upcoming October 4th event.
Yeah,
I know that we have a lineup of a lot of good content, many good talks, and some of the best people presenting. So can you tell us more?
Yeah, well, for one, Flavio, which you have no problem, start the day with lots of energy. A little caffeine would help too, because the agenda is fully packed. Each year we try to bring some new twist or component to the event. And this year we changed the schedule up just a little bit. So we'll start the day with our opening keynotes, which include you and Richard Chapman sharing an update. And that is followed by 2 other industry keynotes from Microsoft and then BitPay and DataSeers. And then get ready. We will then move into not 4, but 5 tracks of breakout sessions in the style of short yet informative tech talks.
That is so good. But no, wait. You are leaving there a cliffhanger. So tell us more.
Yes.
What are those sessions about? So I know that we have tons of good content there. Unfortunately, they are all parallel sessions, so they will happen concurrently. So people can only choose one at a time, but they can always go back and watch another recording
Yes,
later on, right? So
you know,
tell us more about the content there. What's going to have happen there? What do we have aligned?
yeah. So within the 5 tracks, I'll explain them. Similar to last year, the first track is platform features, which attendees can learn all about the new features and enhancements and the latest and upcoming release, including cloud native topics. That's always top of mind. So expect to hear from the regulars, Gavin, Gordon, and other members of the platform team talk about these new features with an emphasis on cloud security. And we also have a special guest from Infosys speaking about service mesh. The second track returning is machine learning, where our experts talk about, the latest algorithms available and what's on the radar, including logistic regression and causality. You'll also hear from a couple academic partners who use some of our machine learning bundles and their research and use cases, including COVID-19 and a unique virtual reality solution, which is a first for me. That one sounds very interesting. Moving on to the third track is all about data lake techniques and secure ways for handling different types of data, along with new tools and extensions for moving that data. Our Solutions Lab team, they share an update on Tumblr and the latest developments of Real BI. We also invite the Microsoft keynote speakers back for a deeper technical dive on the Azure Kubernetes service. And then the fourth track is proven use cases, where you can hear more success stories on how HPCC Systems is being used in proven solutions. And these are stories shared by both our own internal users and our external community users. And they're talking about the clever solutions that they have produced. And then finally, our fifth track, which is new, is instructional demos. And this is where our technical engineers will explain how to complete specific tasks, walking and talking through a demo for configuring and using your platform. I mean, these are our platform experts providing guidance and best practices for running your system locally or in the cloud and how to best monitor performance. And then midday, I think everybody will be ready. We take a break to allow attendees to network, visit the virtual booths, meet our experts, and browse through the poster presentations. And then we end the day on a very exciting note with our awards ceremony, announcing the winners of our 2 community awards and all the winners from our poster competition, which, by the way, you may have seen, include an impressive record number of 18 participants from US, India, and Brazil. And then following the ceremony, before we close out the day, we will have a very informative panel discussion featuring how academia and industry can work together to build a thriving relationship where both sides can benefit, and that's so important. And then, of course, the workshops are returning. This year, we are offering 1-hour machine learning workshops Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and it's open to all attendees of the conference. So it's a fully packed agenda. I'm lost my breath even going through it all. A fully packed agenda for a fully packed week, and there's something for everyone. It's an event not to miss. And registration remains open, so it's not too late. And it is a free event for the community. And all the details and full agenda are at hpccsystems.com.
That is wonderful. So I have no ways to describe this, Tricia. The excitement is huge, and I think people might need some sleeping pills on Monday night to get back to rest and not continue there attached to their computers watching all of the other recordings for every one of the other breakouts, right? Because if you put together all of this content for the 5 tracks of breakouts, you get 25 talks at 20 minutes each. You're in there for a long, long day. So I wouldn't tell people to overdo it. The recordings will be available. Just go there whenever you can and watch the others, the ones that you missed, because I guarantee that you're going to enjoy it. You're in for a blast. So with this excitement, folks, please register. Don't forget to register. You have access to the full agenda as you register. As Trish said, this is all free. There is no reason you shouldn't register. Even if you are out and you won't be able to watch some of these things, well, register and you can go and watch them other days. Hopefully you can attend the day, at least some of the sessions. If you cannot, worry not. They will have all of these sessions available anyway on the site. You know that all of this information is already in our portal. So go to the portal, take a look, see where it is, register, and if you have time and you can do it, be ready to have a blast. That's going to be a great event. And Trish, certainly, thank you very much for everything you do. I know how much effort goes into this, and I might not be able to comprehend every piece of the details of the things that go through this, but I know how much effort you put to ensure that things get always working perfect. I can tell you from my experience from past
We have
events.
a strong support committee helping us. So.
Well, I'm sure it takes a village really to do these things. Yes,
I'm
there is a lot
excited.
of people going into it, but you with your attention to detail and the amount of effort that you put to ensure that this always goes absolutely successfully. Yeah, again, based on prior community days, I know that that's the case, and I'm sure you're going to yet get another one that will beat the previous expectations as you have done every day, every community day over the past several years. So thank you, thank you. Of course, all of this is listed for the people on the audience in our wiki and our YouTube channel. We have all of these recordings available as well. So just if you want to go and have your own stroll through the memory lane, you can always go back and watch some other episodes of the same podcast, some of the community day events from past years, and see us 5, 6 years ago doing this. And certainly stay engaged in the community. And what else can I say other than this is a great way to close this podcast series. HP Systems, happy 10 years anniversary. And Trish, thank you very much for everything. This has been a great
Happy
episode.
10 years anniversary HPCC Systems. And I think there's only one thing left to say. That's a wrap.